There we go, all ready for your event. Hi, my name is Anna. I've been baking for the past 20 years. I've developed a passion for baking from my Italian parents. So join me for some delicious, quick, authentic recipes. I have hundreds to choose from and to share with you. So whether you're just starting out or have an interest in baking, follow me and we'll get inspired. Benvenuti. Today we're making fruit flans. This is a quick, easy, delicious recipe to put together for any occasion, but especially for your grad celebrations. So for this recipe, you'll need mini tart shells. We need milk, cream, cornstarch, sugar, lemon, strawberries, blueberries, kiwis, and chocolate. I'll have the full recipe at the end. So we're going to start by making our cream so it can cool off, ready to assemble. We're going to mix our sugar and cornstarch. Make sure they are well incorporated and there's no lumps in there. We're going to add our milk. So before we turn your stove on, we're going to make sure it's all dissolved. Your sugar and cornstarch. Then we're going to add our cream. So now I will add some lemon zest. I normally peel off the lemon, but this time I'm just gonna zest it very finely because we want a little bit of lemon, but we don't want too much. There we go. Make sure your element is on medium. Leave that for a few minutes. So I'm gonna lower it. And your cream is ready. So we're going to put it in a bowl. There goes your lemon. Look at that. Perfect. And we'll let that cool. Okay, so we're ready. Our cream is cooling. So we're going to get our fruit ready. And you want to cut in half or in quarters. So then you're gonna grab your kiwis. You could use any fruit. It's so fresh for summer. I chose to do strawberry, kiwis, and blueberries. Okay. So I went ahead and melted some chocolate. So you want to bake your tart shells. I've used a 2-inch. It's really nice and dainty if you're having more than one dessert, but feel free to use the larger tart shells as well. So it all depends, how you'll be serving them. If it's just that one dessert per person, if you're going to plate it, then I would go a little bit larger for the tart shells. But I went ahead and used a smaller one because I'm going to have more than one dessert for this celebration. So I brushed it on and then I dipped the tart right in. And you have full control whether you want to have more chocolate or just very lightly chocolate. I wanted to give you a tip before you coat them with chocolate. Remove them from the baking cup. I find it just easier once you're applying, assembling. Makes it so much easier. You don't have to damage any of your shells there. So keep in mind that the smaller your pastry is, the more delicate they are. See, I like making these a couple of days ahead of time. That's why I coat them, because if I coat them this way, they're easier to assemble and your cream isn't going to make your shell soft. Okay, so we're ready. Our shells, our tart shells are nice and dry. We have our fruit cut and our cream is nice and chilled. So we're going to use a piping bag Just make it so much easier. And you can use any tip you want. I don't fill my bag all the way, so it's easier to handle. I'm using this lemon flavor cream, but you could use chocolate, you could use cream cheese. So we're ready to assemble our fruit flans. So we're going to grab our strawberry, put the bottom stem part down. It's really easy. Actually, it looks like a lot of work, but it's not. There we go. Then I grab my kiwi. How beautiful that is. So nice and fresh for summer. Then you grab your blueberry. You can put 1 or 2, depending on how much space you have. Well, we could do 2. There we go. Beautiful. Look at that. I find it's the pop of color, right? The contrast with the white, the red. You know what, kids? You have a bunch of different types of fruit, and they could make up their own. So this is a nice activity to do with your kids. A lot of fun. It adds so much color to your sweet table if you're having an event. Perfect. Fruit flans are all ready and ready to put them on our serving platter. If you want, you could put a baking cup underneath. There we go, all ready for your event. So try this for your next special event and let me know in your comments how you enjoyed it. You see how you have the ladyfingers, you have the mascarpone, your cocoa, beautiful layers. Hi, thanks for joining. Today we're making tiramisu. It's a classic recipe and it's one of my favorites. So for this recipe, you will need ladyfingers, whipping cream, mascarpone, cocoa, sugar, stabilizer, rum, and of course your espresso. I'll have the full recipe at the end. Okay, so we're going to start by whipping our whipping cream with sugar and your stabilizer. Our whipping cream is ready. So we're going to cream our mascarpone. So we're going to use our paddle attachment. Our mascarpone is ready. So now we're going to add our whipping cream to our mascarpone cream. And you could add as much as you like. So the amount of whipping cream you add depends how thick you want your filling. So if you're looking for a lighter, more airy filling, you add more whipping cream. So we're gonna just go halfway. So for this tiramisu, I don't use eggs. I just like the one without, and it just makes it nice and smooth and fluffy. Look at that. Okay, so we're gonna start by filling our piping bag. Fold over the bag so you keep it nice and clean. And make a slit. So we have our cream, we have our coffee. I added the rum and some sugar, and you give that a little mix and we're all ready to go. So you grab your lady fingers, you soak. You can align them any which way. I'm just dipping them really quickly, but if you want them to be full of flavor, you could definitely keep your cookie in the espresso a little longer. I also wanted to mention I'm using this cake dough. You could use anything. You use a cake board, you could use a springform pan. It's really nice with the lady fingers. You can kind of move them around and shape them any which way. All our lady fingers in place. I'm just applying, it's just easy to spread. So once you applied your mascarpone, just give it a nice smooth, spread it all out. We are going to add our cocoa, so you can dust your cocoa powder. So that's our first layer. Also with the tiramisu, you could make it just with the lady fingers, and you can decorate it with whipping cream around it, or you could just leave it with the mascarpone on top. So you can do whatever you want. We have it all. And this is the time that you want to center any of your fingers if they're not placed where you want them to be. There we go. There we go. Okay, so your tiramisu is all ready. Now we're going to dust it with your cocoa again. Again, put as much as you want. Definitely, you can serve it this way, but I'm going to do a little bit more fancy. I'm going to put some whipping cream around it. So what you want to do is go right in here. This is just going to add to your tiramisu. Sneak in here. Okay, so that's the bottom. And then you're going to go all around. Perfect. Now we're going to add some decoration. You can use coffee beans. That's, you know, a little bit more traditional. So we're going to finish off our tiramisu with coffee beans. And of course, put some around the bottom. So you can also put some chocolate shavings. There we go, your tiramisu is all ready. I've chosen to use this dome. This way it's easy to bring to your family and friends and share with them. So all you do is you place your dome on top, lock it in place. There you have it. So you can transport it without not worrying that your whipping cream is going to move around and get damaged, and enjoy. So I also wanted to show you, once you make your tiramisu, sometimes you have a little bit of leftover of the filling and some ladyfingers. So what I've done is you can grab a small cake pan, line the bottom and the sides with parchment paper, and you can make a nice little tiramisu. We put it on a plate. I've got some ladyfingers that I've cut to size, and you're gonna place them on the outer. So if you want, they'll stick with the mascarpone, but I'm just gonna add a dollop of, just a little bit of whipping cream, just so they stay together. So when you're making your tiramisu, you have a little bit left over, and you could make one for your friends. Okay, so we've placed the ladyfingers all around. Beautiful. So once that is all, your tiramisu is all ready, you're going to sprinkle with your cocoa. I like using quite a bit of cocoa. Just put a few pieces of coffee beans. You can use any pan that you want, you feel comfortable with, but you definitely use a springform pan, a dome, and I use a regular cake pan. I line the bottom, I line the sides. This way it's easy to release. But if you're gonna have a dinner party that you're just going to serve, you may want to do it in a casserole. I do a 9 by 13. You can go larger, and this way you just slice them and it's contained there. You could put a lid on it, keep it in the fridge. So there's many ways and many ideas that you could make a tiramisu. Okay, so now we're gonna try the tiramisu. You see how you have the ladyfingers, you have the mascarpone, your cocoa, beautiful layers. Let's give this a try. Very good. You could definitely taste the coffee, the mascarpone with the cocoa. Beautifully balanced. I also wanted to point out, if your tiramisu sits in the fridge, all the flavors are going to combine and just soak all the flavors through. So make it ahead for a couple of days and it's going to taste even better. So if you enjoyed this recipe, like and subscribe. Your support is encouraging. What a nice presentation. Let's give them a try. Delicious. You definitely must try this for your family. Hi, benvenuti. Today we're making butter walnut cookies. They are a buttery cookie topped with walnuts and drizzled in chocolate. So for this recipe, you'll need butter, sugar, flour, chocolate, walnuts, maple syrup, and I'll have the full recipe at the end. Now we're going to cream the butter and the sugar together. You're going to cream them together till the sugar's combined. Mix it on medium speed. We don't want it too high speed because we don't want to whip the butter. We want to incorporate the sugar with the butter. Okay, so your butter and sugar are creamed. We're going to add our flour. This is such a simple, quick recipe. You don't need much time to put this together. So you're going to start it slow. We don't want flour everywhere. You're going to mix until it's all forms into a dough. Just going to scrape the sides. It's coming together nicely. Okay, your cookie dough is ready. So now we're going to mix our walnuts with maple syrup. And you're going to drizzle some over top. And just mix them. Toss them over and coat them. Coat all your walnuts. Delicious, easy recipe. And also they freeze very well. So if you want to make the dough ahead of time and then pop them in the freezer, or you can make them baked and then pop them in the freezer, that's also a good idea as well. There we go. So your walnuts and maple syrup are ready. Now we're going to drop our cookies. Grab your cookie dough, use your scoop, and just scoop it using the palm of your hand. Drop your cookie dough. There we go. We're going to grab our walnuts and we're going to top our cookie, just press it in a bit so it doesn't fall off. Press down. And if you have broken pieces, no worries. Just put two together like that. Amazing. There we go. That's our first tray. So we'll scoop some more out. I use a cookie scooper because it's easy, it's quick, and makes them all the same size. There we go. Again, gonna get our walnuts. Press down. Maple syrup smells so delicious. Yeah, make sure you press down a bit because you don't want the walnut to fall off once it's baked. And if it does, don't worry because chocolate is going to make everything stick together. So not to worry about that as well. And see, I have a few pieces. That's okay, just put them down on there like that. There we go. Now we're gonna pop them in the oven. There we go. Perfect. There we go. Butter walnuts are ready. So now we're gonna melt some dark chocolate. Again, on a double boiler, low heat. Finish off melting. Okay, so your cookies are ready, and now we're going to drizzle them with chocolate. I've melted some chocolate, and I have a piping bag. I'm going to fold it over my hand. This way we keep the bag nice and clean, and we pour the chocolate in the bag. So make sure sometimes when you use your double boiler, there's water on the bottom. Just make sure you wipe it because you don't want water in your chocolate. There we go. Now we're going to just cut a very small opening. Want a nice elegant drizzle. You want to drizzle back and forth. Look how beautiful that is. You don't have to use a piping bag. You could also use a spoon, whatever you have in your kitchen. There we go. We'll be right back. Okay, so your butter walnut clusters are ready, and we're going to put them on a platter, and they're ready to serve. What a nice presentation. There we go. Butter walnut clusters are ready for your guests. So let's give them a try. Delicious. You definitely must try this for your family. Here's your ice cream cake. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So you have your sponge cake, your chocolate, another sponge cake layer, your vanilla, and then your whipping cream. Benvenuti. Today we're making a traditional Italian ice cream cake. It has the Italian sponge cake with chocolate and vanilla ice cream. So for the sponge cake, you'll need flour, sugar, eggs, butter, salt, and vanilla, and also for the filling, which is your ice cream, also simple syrup, whipping cream, and whiskey cream. I will have the full recipe at the end. We're going to start by beating our eggs with sugar, and then we're going to beat them for about 5 to 8 minutes until they triple in volume. We're going to start by adding your sugar. We're going to add half a teaspoon of vanilla and continue beating. So while the eggs are beating, we're going to melt our butter. This is such a simple recipe, and you can make it for up to 2-3 days in the fridge, or you can freeze it. It freezes very well. Our butter is melted. Our eggs are ready. Okay, so now that your eggs are nice and whipped, you've got your melted butter. You're gonna take about a cup and a half of your mixture, and you're gonna incorporate it with the butter. And it's okay if your butter is a bit warmer, but we don't want it hot. Okay, so it's almost there. Now I'm going to incorporate it together with the eggs. I'm going to fold it. Mix it all nice. So now we're going to mix in our flour. And I've added the salt in your flour. Just make sure it's all mixed in just for about a minute. And I also sifted the flour. Okay. I'm going to finish it off with a spatula. Okay. So your batter is ready. I went ahead and I greased a 9-inch pan, and I put parchment paper on the bottom. So then we're going to pour that right in. So let's put this in the oven. And we're going to bake it for about 30 minutes. Perfect. Our sponge cake is ready. Look at that, nice. Oh, wow. Beautiful. Smells delicious. So we're going to cut right in the middle. Just cut it right in the center. A half a cup of whiskey cream and a half a cup of simple syrup. Put some of your mixture in, just to give it flavor and some moisture as well. And you could use any flavoring you like. You could do rum, you can do vanilla, and you could do almond if you wanted as well. So it all depends what flavor you want your ice cream cake. So you see that? Nice. Just right at the edges as well, because you want that flavor. And now we're going to put our ice cream on top. Okay, so we're going to use our spring form to keep it all together once you put the ice cream in there. So we've put the layer of your simple syrup and your whiskey cream. And then you're going to start by putting your ice cream and kind of fill in the gaps where you need ice cream. And don't worry, it just all fits nicely together, just like a little puzzle. So wherever you see some sponge, kind of use your ice cream and kind of put it in there. Now that's your first layer. So then I'm going to grab one of the layers of cake, sponge cake. Just press it lightly. Just make it all even. And then of course you get your simple syrup and cream. And just brush it on. You can use a bottle if you like. Again, you could put as much as you want. So if you want more flavor, you could really soak your sponge cake. I always like going to the edge of your cake as well. There we go. So you're done with chocolate. Now you're going to use, put vanilla on there. I find the box ice cream is just a little bit easier to slice, but you don't have to use a square. You can use a tub as well and scoop it out with an ice cream scoop. That always works as well. Once you're done with the vanilla layer, you're going to get your other cake, place it on top, and just press it down. And what I've done is I did 2 of the sponge cake so I could get 3 layers. But you don't have to, you could do 1. That's fine as well. I'm always used to making 3 layers of cake and 2 layers of ice cream. So then brush it all so nicely. It's never a lot because you want it to go right through the flavor, right down to the first layer. There we go. Now we're gonna pop this in the freezer and we'll make a whipping cream to decorate it all. Okay, so now while our ice cream cake is in the freezer, we're going to whip our whipping cream. 1.5 tablespoons of sugar and a splash of vanilla. Then we'll give that a whip. Okay, our whipping cream is ready. You can use a blender to crush the almonds. Perfect. Okay, so we're ready to decorate our cake. I have a piping bag and a tip. I'm going just to cut a little slit. And I'm going to insert my tip. And of course, I want you to fold over your bag. So we've got 2 ways that I'm going to decorate this ice cream cake. I will show you. I decided I was going to make it just with whipping cream all around it. But then I decided to roast some almonds. And I will show you how to achieve both. So I want you to put a couple dollops of whipping cream on top. I always like to have my cake closer to me, and what you're gonna do is grab your whipping cream and just ice the outer. And don't worry if your ice cream cake is a bit melting a little. It's gonna go back in the freezer, so not to worry. I would normally ice it on top of my tray, but I'm gonna show you 2 methods. So you could do it this way and then just ice your cake. You're gonna need some more whipping cream just to even things out. And this is just a rough on top, and then you're gonna finish it up nicely. And if you need more, you could add more. There we go. So this is your rough. You could definitely put it on your cake dome. You can use a cake board as well. I'm going to use this one, but first I'm going to pipe it. So you have 2 ways of decorating. You could definitely go from the bottom and you just turn your cake. Okay, so you go all around, and that makes it such a pretty decoration. But today I'm going to use almonds all around. Put some chopped almonds all the way, and I do it before I put it on my cake platter because I don't want the almonds to dirty my platter. Makes it such a nice presentation, but also delicious as well because you have your almonds with your whiskey cream, your ice cream, and whipping cream. It's a nice finishing touch. There we go. So once you have all the almonds on your cake, you just press in lightly. And this is a good time also if it's unbalanced, just move it ever so slightly, right, center it. Then you're gonna get your whipping cream and you could just decorate it. This makes such a beautiful presentation. So once you're done, you don't have to decorate it all around. You could do rosettes, so you could do that all around the cake. Sprinkle some almonds all around. Here's your ice cream cake. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So you have your sponge cake, your chocolate, another sponge cake layer, your vanilla, and then your whipping cream. Now look at that. Beautiful. So let's give this a try. Oh, it smells so good. Delicious. So good. You could really taste the whiskey cream and the chocolate with your sponge cake, and nice and moist. And that's why we kind of, in every layer, we put the whiskey cream, but just delicious. Light and refreshing. Definitely a hit for any barbecue. Hi, benvenuti. Today we're making a lemon raspberry truffle. This is such an easy, simple recipe that you don't need to turn the oven on. We're going to use our lemon raspberry cookies. So for this recipe, you'll need cream, milk, whipping cream, sugar, cornstarch, lemon peel, raspberries, and lemon raspberry cookies. I'll have the full recipe at the end. Okay, so we're all ready. We're going to start by putting our sugar and our cornstarch together and just give it a bit of a mix. I like using my whisk just to make sure there's no clumps in there. And then we're going to add our milk. And we're going to just dissolve the two together before you put it on the heat. Okay, so we're all ready to add our cream. And then we're going to put it over the heat. So I'm going to whisk that together on medium heat. Every once in a while, just go around the corners, make sure nothing's stuck there, no sugar or cornstarch. So at this stage, we're going to add our lemon, and what I've done is I've peeled it quite larger so they're easy to remove once you're mixing your cream. And you want to remove as much of the white part of the lemon as possible because that's the bitter part. So we don't want that. And just continue mixing here. The cream is ready. Look at that, nice and creamy here. Just give it a nice whisk here. Okay, so we're going to leave the lemon grind in there because we want it really lemony. Okay, so we're going to whip our whipping cream. And we're going to add our sugar as well. Give that a few minutes. Okay, so while we're waiting for our whipping cream, we're going to cut our cookies in fours. Makes it easier when you're building your trifle. What I like about this recipe, it's really easy, fast. You don't, need many ingredients, but you could cut the cookies ahead of time. So all you have to do is whip your cream and then just assemble it. There we go. And we're going to check on our whipping cream. Okay, so our whipped cream is ready. I'm just going to transfer it because now we're going to just mix our cream to smooth it out. And It's okay, you don't have to scrape all of your whipping cream because you're gonna add your cream in there. Actually, I put a glove on to remove the lemon peel. That's why I made them a little bit larger so they're easily found in here. Okay, so we're gonna give it a few more minutes for the cream before we mix it. So our cream is set, that's cooled off. Now we're gonna add whipping cream to this. There we go, and just fold it in. You have a few pieces of lemon peel. It's okay because they're very small. Just give it an extra lemony taste. And we want this filling to be lighter. That's why I'm adding the whipping cream, so it's not so heavy. Perfect. So we're gonna assemble our trifle. So I'm gonna start by putting some of the cream at the bottom. And then we're gonna add our berries. Just put a liberal amount. Then we're gonna add our cookies. Just place them in. Then you're gonna add some more cream. Makes such a nice, beautiful display as well. Raspberries here. I'll get some on the edge, so it makes it a nice presentation as well. Add our cookies. More raspberries. There we go. Now we're going to add our last layer of cookies. So you want it nice and light so it just falls right in nicely. Okay, so we're going to finish it off with some whipping cream. Garnish with a few raspberries. Got some lemon. There we go. And then you could just cut them off. Use a knife. I'm just tearing them off. And that's simple. There you have it, lemon raspberry trifle. Easy, delicious, quick, perfect for any picnic that you're going to be hosting. So let's give this a try. Light and refreshing. Definitely a hit for any barbecue. So if you enjoyed this recipe, try it and let me know in your comments.